Loving this. Let's try that again. Hey, everybody, this is Ms.B, positively Ms.B. I'm so used to having one show. Y'all know I got two. I forgot I had two shows. Thank you so much for joining me. I pray that everything is going well for you. And if not, just remember the day is another day that the Lord has made. We shall rejoice and be glad in it. It is the situations and circumstances, not the day that could be improved. That being said, my first guest today is Jean Mason. Oh my goodness, what a way to get started on the first episode. But fortunately, I know how to edit that first part out. So welcome, Jean. Welcome everybody to Positively Ms. B's first episode of Brunch with Ms. B. I am just totally, truly overwhelmed with the opportunity to have the very first guest on this episode to be Jean Mason. If you like that little music, guess what? He created it for me. That's right. After 7 years, I have my own music composed by my son, my friend, my pal, Jean Mason. So I got some credits for him coming up a little later, but he composed that intro. I'm just excited about a lot of things. And forgive the because I really am excited. But again, welcome to Brunch with Ms. B. If this is your first time joining me on any episodes, I just want you to know that I'm a woman of faith. And I believe that no matter what happens in life, prayer is the power that penetrates all problems. And here on the Brunch with Ms. B is very special. Years ago, I wanted to do a brunch with Ms. B in a brick and mortar setting to have poets and all types of people come in a restaurant and just have a good old time for 2 hours, jazz atmosphere. And that did not happen. And one of the things that I wanted to do was to continue the memory of a friend, someone I call son, and a former podcaster. And in doing so, I decided to ask a couple of people if they were interested in helping me do that. One of the things that I wanted to do again was to go back into a brick and mortar. And I wanted to do it in November because I celebrated ending my 7th year, going into my 8th year, October the 31st. And so I've been kind of hard-headed. The Lord said, I gave you that. Why are you waiting for somebody else to manifest it? So I said, okay, they don't have time, and no disrespect to me. They just had a lot going on. And I said, okay, I need to make this happen. I have every platform available. And then the Lord blessed me with a new platform, which I'll talk about later, on the flow. So I have the Preach the Word Network, which I come on every Friday at 9 a.m. on the Preach the Word Network and other platforms that they sponsor. But this Brunch with Ms. B is going to be on the Flow Network, which is going to be on demand. This episode is actually going to be on their TV station next Sunday. So I'm live one Sunday and I posted for their network next Sunday. So I'm on 2 networks. So in honor of Chris Allen, if you did not know, Chris Allen was a podcaster with me for about 2 years, and he had a show called The Issues of Men. And he would have different guests on. He would talk about his personal issues as well as others and how we can approach things not readily discussed by men. And there are a lot of things that women don't even understand, or men don't even understand, that exists, from date rape to spousal abuse to childhood molestation. There's a lot of things out there that men just hold in and they don't actually recover from. They just keep carrying it like bad luggage. So here on Ms. B, I want to keep in the same vein with Chris, talking about issues of men. Every Sunday at 1 p.m. East Coast time, I'll be having different guests. And today I'm honored to have Jean Mason, who has a lot to say about his music, his love of Christ, his family, but he also has a book out, and we'll talk about that later. So again, I would like for you to welcome my very first guest on the Brunch with Ms. B today, Jean Mason, number 2. Hey, Jean.
Hello, Ms. B. How are you?
I'm all grins. Let me tell you, I'm all grins. I'm just so excited. Listen, I have a lot I want to ask you, but I'm going to let you tell the listeners a little bit about you. I put your website up in the description of the show. But I want them to know a little bit about you. I want to talk about your music first, your love of music, how you got started, and where you see yourself going.
My love of music has been since day one. My mom said I beat on pots and pans before I could walk. So that sums it up. I mean, I'm a drummer at heart. That's my first instrument. And my mother bought a piano when I was 13, I think, and it sat in the living room for years. And I began to just doodle around on it. And it wasn't until after I was married and had the opportunity to record, and that I picked up the piano. Actually, my first recording session, the guys that I had gotten did were a no show, and I remember um, the Lord said, "Go on a fast," and I went on a 7-day fast. In the 7 days, I actually played the piano on that album, um, and as long as I didn't look down at what I was doing, it was fine. But the minute I was trying to understand what I was doing, uh, my fingers froze up and no sound came out of the piano. So that's where it started. My wife, uh, my wife Shannon Mason, has been a huge inspiration to my life, my music. Um, I heard God tell me 5 years ago to do it again, and I didn't want to do it. It took me a whole year before I even thought about it or attempt to do it again. And when I told it to my wife, she went out and bought me my very first laptop, my very first computer at the age of 48. Yeah. And she taught me how to use it. And then she turned around and bought my instruments and my piano and my keyboard and my bass guitar and my acoustic guitar. And she is an inspiration above and beyond inspirations. And together, we have formed Maceo Productions. She is also a producer in her own right. My wife is bad. I'm telling you, she can do it all. And I am pleased and honored to have such a great partner, a great helper, and a great woman of God in my life and with me in this journey. I desire my vision, what God has given me for a vision was um, music on television, films and movies. And so um, we are working towards that, happily working towards that. And we've had opportunities and we expect more. We expect more opportunities. So
Well, I expect more too, and I'm praying that the visibility that you get from getting credits for making the score for not only Brunch with Miss B, but my show on Fridays as well. You wrote both scores, and as we move forward, I pray that that'll give you some visibility, um, not just on Spotify and other places, but we're going to do that, and we're going to talk about your relationship with Shannon a little bit later. But right now, let's segue into how does music play in your life when it comes to your faith?
actually, most of the songs on the CDs were written out of either worship or dreams that God gave me. Because I'm not, uh, or as of yesterday, I was not as fluent on the piano. Anything can happen, you know. Um, it has been when my wife and I, when we would worship, songs uh, would occur, and so a lot of our songs are actually out of worship or out of dreams. 90%, 90 maybe 95% of our songs are through worship or dreams. So
I'm glad you said that because I'm gonna have some questions for you later on. So we're gonna talk about what do you think the inspiration is for a lot of the musicians and how hard it is to stay focused. But we'll move forward. So we talked about your love for music, but also you're multi gifted, talented, and more than one instrument. You also sing. Tell us a little bit. I heard your mouth, but okay. Um, Tell us a little bit about the music that's already out there in public. You have some soundtracks, some music on SoundCloud and different places. Talk about your music.
Yes, ma'am. The music is available on Spotify, Reverb Nation, Amazon, Apple, Apple. Yes, and YouTube. So it is two albums: Still I Rise and Turn Right at the Moon. They are um, the Turn Right at the Moon was my first album, uh, and it consisted of uh, worship and uh, and dreams, mostly worship. And we did that in 2019, I think. 2019, 2000, yeah, 2019, 18 or 19. And then Still I Rise is an album that was done 2020. Still I Rise is a very unique album. Take that back. Both of them are unique. Turn Right at the Moon, my wife uh, helped me. My daughter even helped me on Turn Right at the Moon. And Still I Rise, my wife also helped me again. But Still I Rise comes with the book, um, which the, is the songs to each chapter of the book. So when you read the book, Still I Rise, the chapters of the book are the actual songs uh, on the CD. So um, you'll find it very interesting. It tells a story, um, and it kind of puts you in the setting of what um, the emotion that experienced uh, for that chapter. So very interesting, very God idea, not mine. God idea. So um,
I'm smiling because um, on the back it says, "This is a book about a few of my personal and observed traumatic experiences, statistics, and my personal option. My moments of failures, triumphs, and defeats that God has brought me through." Um, we're going to segue into that in a minute, but I just want to let you know, um, I thank you for my personal copy, but I like chapter one. If people really want to get involved in the rest of the book, chapter one, ripping off the bandage. Um, it's very important we understand when Chris created this Issues of Men, he was ripping off bandages. And not only was he ripping off bandages, he was exposing the wounds that didn't even have bandages, they were just out there. Um, and anything was able to enter in those wounds to make things even worse. They you have triggers, and a lot of times things that are not bandaged, those triggers will get in and make what's existing already worse, even if it doesn't have anything to do with it. So when we talk about your relationships, you also talk about your relationships. You mentioned how blessed you were to have Shannon to be a part of your life, not only to help your career, but I know Shannon, and we both are caretakers. A lot of men don't understand when they have that type of support. Sometimes they don't know how to appreciate it. Let's talk about Shannon and you and your relationship with her based on you and her, not your past relationships. When you first got started, did you find it hard to receive what she saw in you and how she was trying to help you? Because a lot of times men feel like, you don't tell me what to do. Why you got to criticize me? That's not what I want to do. You're trying to run my life. Let's talk about how you were feeling at that time when you finally realized what she was trying to do for you.
um, okay, so when I met my baby, she didn't criticize what I did. She just gave me different options that I hadn't seen before. And that was a big, that was a huge step of trust for me. And because she cared and showed so much care and showed so much love, it inspired me to uh, take view of her other options. Because if somebody doesn't care for you, you're not inclined to listen to their options. Where constantly showed me care, constantly showed me love through respect, and that was something that every man longs for, to be respected. It's his love language, at least one of them. And so um, she did that and does that. And
Yes,
so
she does.
it's so it makes it easy. And a lot of men, I'm sure there's some guys who will disagree with it, but um, I can sit and listen to my wife talk because she does. She talks for hours, and it's easy because I know she cares about me, you know. And so the other day we were at the mall, we were at the store, Target, and she was walking around getting, I'm looking for an outfit for my grandchildren, our grandchildren, and her shoe was untied, and I knelt down and I tied her shoe. I said, "Be still," and I knelt down and I tied her shoe, and because I don't care what nobody else thinks, you have to understand the care that she has poured into me. You know, just look around. This is just the tangible, but there are so many things that she has poured into me spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically because of the Father. You know, you can't do that if you don't have God. You just can't do it. I mean, it's impossible. You got to have God to pour in that kind of love that I needed. You know, and be precise and be precise. You can hit and miss, but she had such precision in her care for me that I know it was God. And so um, it has um, God has molded and shaped me where I'm at through her. She's been the hands-on. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have flashbacks. I ain't perfect, I get, but I am definitely a better man. I'm a much better guy, happier. You know, uh,
I'm going to say this. Um, the two of you complement each other. You're already complete, but the two of you complement each other. I'm going to take a short break. And when I come back, um, I would like for you to speak to the men out there who may not know how to recognize a good woman for them, not a good woman in general, but for them, giving to them what they really need to be nurtured by. So I'm going to take a short break and think about your answer. I'll be right back. Okay.
all right.
Hey, everybody, this is Ms.B. If you're just joining me, this is my first episode of Brunch with Ms.B, where we talk about issues of men. In honor of Chris Allen and his original podcast, I want to address those issues that men sometimes don't readily address, don't confront and conquer. There are a lot of things out there that men are hurting from. And we talked about in his book, Removing the Bandages. Some of them don't even have bandages on those wounds. So this is what issues of men is going to be talking about on Brunch with Ms. B. For your mind, body, soul, and spirit, I plan to offer food for thought by having guests, male guests particularly, to discuss where they are in their careers, their gifts and talents and faiths, and what issues they may currently in the past or just in general be facing as a man. So thank you so much for joining me. What you just saw was a short clip. Jamise B. Wilson. Jamise Wilson is my daughter. For those of you who've been following me on my other show, you may know that we have had a journey, over a year-long journey, where she had some serious health issues. She was recently released in April from the hospital and moving forward with her life, she decided to come up with a medical journal. No, she didn't. The Lord inspired it. But the medical journal is a published book of hers. She created it since she has been out. She is a stage 4 cancer survivor. And the book is available on Amazon. It helps you to monitor all the different medications you may be responsible for, your blood pressure, what does it mean? And there's a special section to take notes from doctor recommendations or side effects or different things, whether you're a patient or a caregiver. It's an excellent opportunity to obtain a copy to either give as a gift or to use for yourself. Again, that book is available on Amazon. As a matter of fact, she has her own store, all things Jamise on Amazon, and you find that link. And anything that you order, she'll get credit for, including the book that you can find on Amazon book. So again, that's Janice B. Wilson, her first published book as a stage 4 cancer survivor, showing you how to keep track of all of your medications, your blood pressure, and anything concerning doctor suggestions, recommendations, or side effects. So thank you for your support. And I'm just so blessed to be able to say that's my baby girl. Um, Now, let's talk about your suggestions to men. Um, did you get a chance to think about the answer?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Talk about it.
My testimony is that God created women to help. If one of the great things about this journey is know what a woman is created for, understanding that all treasures are buried. And if it's on the surface, it ain't a treasure. It's, it could be false gold or anyway. So with my wife, um, she's a helper, and she come alongside and help. So that was one of the ways I was able um, to see a difference between her and other women um, that had been in my life. Immediately she thought to help. Um, if I gave her an idea, or if I gave her a thought, she gave me a business plan, a proposal, and it was like, wow, okay. So um, that's the first thing. The second thing, uh, I take that back. That's the second thing. The first thing is clean out your garage, clean out your driveway, clean up your backyard, clean up your front yard, clean up your house. That's the
Mm.
first. Remove all debris. um,
I'm not a man, but I'm tracking that.
hey, listen, you, God does not do confusion. So if you got debris, if you got others that are there and they're not the one, remove so that the one can come in and God can bring her to you. Because God's not going to bring your wife to you and you got one or two side chicks or a close friend that's a woman. It brings confusion. And God ain't it. He doesn't do that. So because um, before I met Shannon, God told me to come off of a dating site, told me to shut it down, told me to tell the women that were coming to see me, told me to cancel their trips. And I wrestled with that. I went to sleep. When I woke up, I was literally sitting up in my bed. The covers were down on the floor. The pillows was over by the door. You would have thought there would have been a pillow fight or something. When I woke up, there were no sheets on the bed. And I'm sitting up in the bed. And I thought, what just happened? So I wrestled with it. I'm not going to say it ain't going to be a struggle for some guys. That was a struggle for me because I felt like I had finally found some great prospects. And when he said, remove yourself from that and just sit tight. And I did it. I did it. And so that sparked, I end up meeting Shannon within 1 or 2 weeks. So, um, but like, unfortunately, prior to that, I asked God, I want to know what love is. I had loved and loved and loved and loved and still came up empty and without relationship. And after I had that, after I told God that, I had a dream. And my dream was God was hovering on the left, the world was suspended in the air on the right, and there was a line of women that wrapped all the way around. And he said, choose which one you want. He said, you want me or do you want these women? And I began to look at the women. I began to walk down the line and look at them. And I said, whoa. I said, all these women? He said, yes. I said, I can have all these women. He said, they will bring you. He said, they will bring you their best gift. And I said, their best gift? And I said, oh, man. And I'm just looking, I'm walking down the line. He said, choose. And I said, reluctantly, I ain't gonna lie. I said, okay, God, I'm gonna choose you. And the dream ended. And I would later, um, the instruction to remove myself from the stuff and from the debris and clean out my garage and my driveway. I would later meet Shannon, who would be the most beautiful car, the most beautiful woman, inside and out.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I didn't see that. She didn't want me to see that. She didn't want me to see that. But we didn't hit it off at all. Our very first date, I turned around and took her back home. She,
Y'all
oh,
are funny.
took her home. I saved my money. Hey, look, you gonna be like that? I'm taking you home, and I did. And here we are today. So
All
yeah,
total, how long have you been knowing her? All total, from that first
seven,
date to today.
7 years, 7.5 years.
Wait a minute. 7. I'm completing 7, going into 8. You're in your 7. You know what? That's no accident. I would just like to say that um, sometimes you're so good for each other, you can't stand each other. You know what I'm saying? Oil and water does not mix. So when you put oil and vinegar together, they did not mix at all. But you get them things to separate just right. You talking about good. Mm, mm, mm. Even when you spread peanut butter and jelly, they don't mix. They just complement each other. So go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. They complement each other.
So the two of you are already complete. You just needed to have some compliments. So congratulations on recognizing um, who she is to you and who God sent to you for you. So many men do not have a spiritual relationship, um, and they tend to make decisions based on their flesh. And you were able to say, okay, flesh, I'm cleaning out my closet, my garage, I'm letting stuff go, I'm ready. So some men don't know how to do that. You mentioned love, show you how to love. Before we go to another short break, what are some of the things that made you feel like you didn't know how to recognize love or be loved?
Pain, pain uh, kept me from recognizing love. Pain kept me from wanting to be loved. Um, uh, Life has given, just brings pain and brings, experiences, just bad experiences, especially relationship. And so I was like the movie Beauty and the Beast, where the castle looked really beautiful, but there was that one room, and he didn't want nobody going in there because it brought him so much pain. And oftentimes, when you tell a woman, uh, "Don't go in that room," that's the first room they go to.
Absolutely.
So that's what it was like.
So now that you asked the question, are you better at receiving love or have you gotten better at giving love or both?
I'm better at giving love. I'm learning. Um, Shannon's taught me how to ask God to actually help me to relearn how to love her. Because the problem with love is we use a blanket and we'll apply it to each relationship the same blanket, and it's not fair. This is a different person, different time, different situation, circumstance, and I'm a different person. So we need a new blanket, you know. And so I am, and I just recently talked to her, and love requires honesty on both parts. Ladies, men can't love you if you're not honest. If that's not what you like, that's not what you like, and it's okay. If you like the finer things, then you just please be honest. Don't tell him, yeah, I like it, and you really don't like it. You know, honesty will really help him understand how to love you. He can't love somebody he doesn't understand and he doesn't know because you haven't been honest. You got to be honest. And so, my wife and we're doing some redos, and as she learns more about her, she's letting me know, hey, baby, you know what? That used to be okay, but I think I want the Mercedes. You know, I think I want the Range Rover. You know, and that's cool. That's cool. You God's big enough. If he ain't, we on the wrong line. You know, I'm just saying. So, but yeah, I just and men, we go to the Father to ask Him to help us to do and to provide and to believe Him for the increase and for the things that she wants and she likes. You know, it's a whole nother blanket, whole nother love. But as far as myself is, I'm so much better at receiving love. Look
Cool.
around. I'm so much better.
I,
That was not the case before. But I do need some more improvement. Don't get me wrong.
we all do. We all do. But the Father says, if you don't know love, you don't know Him. So the more you get to know love, the more you get to know Him. So um, we had talked about, I had talked about taking a short break, but prior to you coming home on, I wanted to give you the opportunity to um, be spontaneous. Is there any thing you would like to share with us while you edit your keyboard that you could play for us?
Yes, yes, that I can. Um, uh, I sure can. I can do something really spontaneous.
I was about ready to just sit back, get me some cheese and crackers and some fake wine right here. Let me tell you, let me tell you. All right, everybody, if you just joined me, you just heard Gene Mason do something spontaneous. Is it spontaneous or do you really have a name for that piece?
I have a name for that piece. It's called Endless Love.
Endless love. Are you available to? I know you live in Texas, but are you available to perform live for events?
Uh, we're starting to, yes. Yes, we're available. Yes,
Okay.
we're
And if
available.
they wanted to do that, what's the best way to get in contact with your manager, which happens to be your wife?
Oh, actually, I have a booking agent, Stephen Bird. Uh, oh, wasn't expecting that. But
Shannon, type that information in, please, Shannon. We'll let Shannon type that information. I put you on the spot. But I wanted to tell you thank you again. We had talked about this show for a while, and what I would like to do is offer you the opportunity to either send in live, I mean, pre-recorded clips of videos or special spontaneous music, or just show up with me on Sundays and you would have the opportunity to play live if you would like at least once during the show. But I want to give you the opportunity to not only showcase your music, but if there's a topic that the guest is discussing, if you're available live, I can bring you in to complement that discussion. So what we're going to do is we're going to look forward to you either sending in something pre-recorded, the length of your choice, or joining us if you're available, because I know we all have other things going on, and to provide me with at least one commercial or intermission time for my listeners. So I thank you for that. That was wonderful. Tell them where you are. I know you're on SoundCloud and Spotify. What other platforms are you on?
um, Amazon, Apple, Reverb Nation. Oh my gosh, it's a lot. It's a lot. But those are on YouTube. Those are the, you know, the favorites. So
And as far as YouTube is concerned, can they find a lot of uploads of your videos there, or are you just getting started with that content?
actually, I've got a few on there. Gene Mason. Well, I'm also on there with the band Unscripted, which will be performing in April. We perform every April. Domestic violence against men. Help raise money for that. Um, so we'll look. Matter of fact, it'll be next year, April 21st, McKinney, Texas. So if you're in an area, please come join us. It's amazing. It's my cousins. The band consists of my cousins, who between all seven of us have played for every major artist um, and gospel artist and gospel ministries. We cover a lot, and but we had never played together. So the Lord blessed us to bring. My wife brought all seven of these guys together, including my brother, my cousins, and we were on stage for the first time in our lives together. And amazing artists. These guys are. I'm probably the least of the seven. I am the least. These guys are amazing, and so we'll be in concert April 21st, 2023, McKinney, Texas.
You mentioned an organization that you're trying to raise money for. Highlight that a little bit for me, please.
Still I Rise. The acronyms are SIR. Um, it is about men who have suffered or suffering from domestic violence against women and need a place to retreat, need counseling, just need a friend, someone to talk to that can relate to their circumstance and situation without being judged or misjudged. And so um, that's what we do. We've been counseling with men for about 10 years now, from uh, bikers to pastors. Um, we all have been through and experienced domestic violence, whether publicly or privately. And so it's it's horrible because most men don't want to discuss it. They have a problem discussing it. They don't want to appear weak to other men. At least they be bullied by their peers. And but I'm not the kind that to be bullied easy by guys, and so I don't really care. Matter of fact, but the Lord really blessed me. Actually, my wife again helped me with that. She asked me to discuss that and to share that. And in doing so, it has been public for the past 7 years now. It's been public with men who are suffering from domestic violence. And so I'm very
I
grateful.
need you to speak up a little bit. I know you're getting kind of comfortable with me, but there's Still I Rise. Are you one of the founders? You joined, or how is
I,
your affiliation with
I,
this?
I am the CEO and founder of Still I Rise. And we have 4 board members. Um, 3 of them are doctors and counselors. And so my wife and I are on that board and CEO of that. And we we engineered the the unity of the board. And so um, that's pretty much it.
Well, pretty much. I know you're kind of, I'm not going to say shy, but um, let me just ask you, without any details, do you have any personal experiences with domestic violence? And if so, how would you suggest a man come forward to seek help for that?
I do have personal experiences with domestic violence. Unfortunately, my experience, um, I could not find anyone to talk to. Um, I reached out to the church. I reached out to organizations. Um, at that time, it just so happens that a good friend of mine was the best was the best ear. He would take me out on the ocean, and we would just fish. And he just let me go, just let me talk. Um, I finally found an organization that helped me, but it was so far outside of my community, outside of just outside the box, till I would not have found it had it not been for God. But unfortunately, there are organizations now, and I employ men, please reach out to those organizations. Um, if they are unable to help you, we do have resources. There's somebody that can help you. Some of us are fully resourced and fully funded, and some of us are not. So, but we have, you will have options. And I don't want you, please don't be prideful and ask for help. Pride comes before the fall. You can't handle that all. You can't take it all. It's tough. I know sometimes it's just a chore just to inhale and exhale. I get that. I get that. Um, I know what it's like to have a gun to your head thinking it's going to blow your brains out. Been there, done that. Um, please take a moment and just seek help. Just seek help.
Absolutely,
This earth
absolutely,
needs you. We need you. We need you.
absolutely. Everybody has a purpose, but they have to accept that in order to live for it. I want to ask you, with all sincerity, a lot of men don't know how to recognize it is considered domestic violence, abuse. It's not just about laying hands on. She may not ever hit you, but in your experiences, can you tell them what may be signs that they need help and they're just saying that's just how she is? Um,
Absolutely. My dad used to say all the time, "Boy, that's just the way women are. That's just the way women are." And I believed him because I would say, "Well, Dad, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what's going on. Oh, boy, it's just the way women are." No, no, and no, it's not. But I wouldn't have known that had I not sought the Lord. So, um, men, if you are being antagonized, if you are being um, disrespected, if there's emotional abuse, there's spiritual abuse. I think they know uh, better than you, and to the point where you don't want to pray anymore. If it's damaging your relationship with God, it is spiritual abuse. There's financial abuse. Her money is her money, and your money is her money. There's sexual abuse, withholding, or going outside of the relationship. There's so, please, you do not need to ignore. Um, please seek help, seek counseling. Um, Mention it. Hey, listen. Maybe she doesn't even know that's abuse. Maybe that's what her mama, grandmama taught her. Said the girls at the country club, they got together and said, "Hey, that's what you should do," you know. And so she may not even know that she's being abusive. It may be the thing that to do. I mean, everything has changed. The game has really changed. So um, your first option is to say, "Hey, do you know that that's abuse? Do you realize that that is abuse? What you just said, what you just did, what you're doing, where you're going. Do you realize that this is abuse?" That's your first step. She may not recognize it, and she may be willing to have, if she loves you, she may be willing to make changes. So that's your first. That's your very first option. And then from there, if she doesn't want to change, if she doesn't see it the way you see it, then you're gonna have to make some decisions. Back to you, Miss B.
Can you hear me?
I can.
Well, I guess you can't see me then, but I've been having internet problems, so at least you can hear me. I'm not going to keep you too much. Oh, there I are. Technical difficulties happen on the live. That's why it is what it is. But I thank you for that, and I thank them. Is his name Damon Thomas or Damon Thomas? What's his name?
Yes. Damon Thomas. Damon.
Damon
Oh,
Thomas.
Damon. Damon.
Damon.
I call
I
him Damon.
thank you so much for joining us, and I'm sure they appreciate you as well. And we thank you so much, Tommy Dudley, for joining us. It's very important that we all understand that abuse is not gender specific, it's not age specific. It doesn't matter about your economics or your education. Relationships are relationships, and they have their ups and downs. And we talked about in the beginning about removing the bandages, and some wounds don't even have a bandage on them. So for men who have had some previous traumatic experiences and did not address them, a lot of times they find themselves replaying those same scenarios as adults and feel that that's all that they deserve, or they love that person more than they love themselves. And we talked about the relationships that could be damaged with your relationship spiritually. I believe in Yeshua Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, but wherever you are spiritually, if you have not addressed the issues that attracts you to the relationships that could damage you internally and externally, there is help out there, such as Still I Rise. And then, of course, we talked about the Still I Rise book that you wrote. And I like the first chapter where it just says removing the bandages. It's an easy read. It's nothing very hard to find. Shannon has put up the link to it on Amazon Books. Just go to Amazon Books and type in Still I Rise. It's very important that you get help. And so many people are stigmatized with getting help. He said he went to the church, and in his day, yes, go ahead.
Ms. B,
You
I
want to
like
say something?
Damon is he's over Men of Courage. That's an organization that helps men with domestic violence. And you said that Tommy Dudley also joined. He is also a man of an advocate for domestic violence. He also is the one that got me started. Damon is a huge support. This guy is support. Oh my gosh. He also helped me with the book, helped me rewrite it. And so it's funny that these guys are on, but these guys are also supporters of what we do. And I love the camaraderie that I have with these guys. And that's what is on the other side of reaching out.
It is. Absolutely it is. I'm glad you mentioned that. I was going to segue into that part because of their support and their respect for them and their appreciation for. I would like to publicly give them the opportunity to reach out to me if they feel that they could come on, be a guest, and talk about where they are professionally, and then segue into their concerns for issues with men. So I extend that invitation to you. You can find me on Facebook. under Miss Benita Claiborne or Benita Claiborne. And we could talk about potentially bringing you on as a guest. My slots are filling up fast. I can't guarantee how soon you'll be on, but if you're interested, just let me know and we can work that out. But again, thank you all for joining us. This is my first episode on live my Facebook for a while. I've had to take a hiatus to be with my daughter doing a healing journey. So I'm breaking myself in. I'm a little nervous and I had some hiccups with the internet. And but before you got before you got started, if you noticed, I did an intro that was not applicable to this show. I'm going to play that right quick one more time, please. That's right, everybody. I have two shows. I have two shows on two different networks. This particular episode is going to be aired next Sunday on another network. But right now, I just wanted to invite you to join me at Fridays at 9 a.m. East Coast time on the Preach the Word Worldwide Network and all of their available platforms, which you saw. I come on Friday mornings at 9 o'clock a.m. And I simply ask if it's true, how's it working for you? How is it? We talk about scriptures and the thus and the thous, but if it's true, how's it working for you? I don't do a whole lot of name and blame. I do myself. I actually sit back and give myself as an example. But again, it's if it's true, how's it working for you? Every Friday morning at 9 a.m. East Coast time on the Preach the Word Network. You can also find me on all of the available social media platforms on simply Positively Ms. B. My YouTube channel is also Positively Ms. B, and I'm currently trying to increase the content there as with the social media network. If you missed the first commercial that I showed, it was about my daughter, Jamise Bianca Wilson. Jamise B. Wilson wrote a book. I'm just excited for that. She's a stage 4 cancer survivor, and she has a book on Amazon. It's a medical journal, and just type in under books Jamise B. Wilson, and you'll find the book. If you would like to order it for a friend, for yourself, as a caretaker, please consider doing so as she moves forward into her healing journey. But we have about 7 minutes left, Jane, and I want to thank you so much for all that you said about, I guess, domestic violence and the opportunity to be in contact with two of your comrades, I'm going to call them, and the advocates for domestic violence. So many people don't understand that it's not just about women or children or old folks. Men get abused too. And that's the sad thing about it. And before I leave, I want to talk a little bit about the church. I am not bashing church because you can't put anybody in a basket. We're not, all blacks are not the same, all females, and everybody ain't the same. But the purpose that the church organization represents sometimes falls short when it comes to offering outreach ministries that would encourage healing um, in such areas as issues with men. You said yourself that you reached out to the church and you're not able to find help. I'm a faith-based woman, a woman of faith. I stood on James 5:15 and 16 for my daughter. I like Jeremiah 29:11. You know, the Father's got plans for her. Philippians 4:13. I can absolutely, without a doubt, do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So as we come to a close, Jean, anything that you feel that you did not say, you would like to take the time to say it at this time.
I just want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to not only be on your show, but to do your music. It has been a privilege. It has been a blessing. And I appreciate it so much, Miss B. I think you're an amazing woman, not just on camera, but off camera, which you've been an amazing friend to my wife. And I appreciate that. I appreciate I'm sure you're an amazing mother listening to your testimony of helping your daughter. But I just want to say thank you for having me on the show and giving me the opportunity to do your music. Out of all the artists in this world, you picked me. I'm honored. Thank you so much.
I had to take myself off of camera because I felt a little teardrop. And y'all, I am a water bucket. Let me tell you, a lot of people say, Miss B, don't forget to take yourself off of camera because my face talks. I ain't got to open my mouth, my face, my eyes. I start wearing the big glasses because sometimes I be making all kinds of faces. Let me tell you, I'm a very emotional person, but my face be talking. So I wanted to make sure I won't go teardrop because yes, Jean, the Father showed me that it was our time. When you said 7.5 years into your relationship with Shannon, and I just ended my 7th, going into my 8th. That's something I always wanted to do. I said, I'm going to 5. I'm going to get me a beat. I've had shows tell me, copyright infringement when they say it was free music. Been through all of that. And here it is now. I guess it's our time. I have more platforms to expose you to, and your talent has grown to the point where you could just look at what I wanted. And even my husband says, sweet. He said, anytime you want to drop something, just drop it. He'll listen to it. You ain't even got to have no name to it. So you have pleased both my husband and I. He's a behind the scenes person. He pays all the bills. But before I actually make anything, I said, honey, what do you think about this? So he gave me approval for I do all of my own graphics. So he gives me the approval for everything that I do. So I'm coming up on my 67th birthday, December the 18th. And God is not through with me yet. I have a lot to do. So I have Shannon and her husband to be my errands. I have a lot of people to be my errands. I have some sponsors. I have other commercials, but more importantly, prayerfully every Sunday, either a pre-recorded clip or Jean in person will offering us some music ministry to help us segue from one topic to the other, one conversation to the other. If you could categorize your music, what would you consider it to be, Jean?
Jazz and inspirational.
Well, you know what? Let me just say this. This is my first episode. It's my show. I can do what I want to do, right? What you talking about? Okay, so on the Flow Network, I have some flexibility, and I'm really serious about this. And this is going to probably make him cry. But I have access to making podcasts as well as videos. So this video is going to be turned into a podcast. But the reason why I asked you about your music is because I believe everybody has the opportunity to share their gift in the way they want to share. But I also am very particular about what I allow in my spirit and what I represent in public. So what I would like to do is to let you all know that I will be getting in contact with Jean to start my own gospel jazz radio station featuring Jean Mason. And we're going to move forward. We'll probably start out with an hour's worth of entertainment, and then I'll grow as things move forward. But that is one of the goals that I wanted to have, was my own internet radio station. And now I have the opportunity to do that with his expertise and his wife's. I now have the ability to make sure that it's done smoothly. But we'll keep in touch with you on that as we move on the Flow Network. But look forward to my gospel jazz radio station featuring Jean Mason. We'll start out with an hour probably, and then we'll increase the content according to what God's plans is for us. So that being said, everybody, this is Ms.B, positively Ms.B. I've come to you for my first episode on Brunch with Ms.B, where we simply talk about issues with men. And I plan to interview men of all walks of life, from the doctors to the man sitting on a corner with a cup. So don't put me in a box when it comes to that. I appreciate you all, and may the Lord that I serve continue to bless all of you, and the things that I do and say be acceptable in his sight, but more importantly, be received in the manner that it is meant. Jean, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, son. Okay.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Bye-bye, everybody. Where's my, there you go.